Okay, thank you to you, Marco. In this session, we will talk about navigation component. We will have a focus on SafeArgs and deep linking. From there, my title, Navigation Deeping Safely. Okay, so let's go to the presentation. My name is Amro, as Marco already said. I'm software engineer. I'm working as a mobile developer for 4 years, and I'm working in Accenture for 2 years. I would like to say that I'm enjoying my experience as mobile developer in Accenture. It is very good experience. So let's move to the agenda of our talk. As I said in this talk, we will talk about the navigation component with a focus on SafeArgs and deep linking. I will do also an introduction to the navigation component. To this part, I will have the support of my slides, but for those 2 points, I have prepared a live code session. So we will develop together a small application to see in detail the SafeArgs and the deep linking. Okay, before to start, let's discover the requirement of our application. Our application will be a smaller e-commerce application that will have a home page, and then from there the user can go to the search page, and in the search page can search for some articles, and then he can select an article to view the detail of that specific article. Okay, so first of all, we need to integrate the navigation component to our project. So we need to add those two dependency in the app build Gradle file of our project. And then we should create a navigation resources folder inside the resources folder. And inside it, we should create an XML file that will contain the navigation graph, our application. Let's take a look on how our navigation graph looks like when it is empty. Here on the left, we can see the code part of our navigation component. For now, it is empty. Here we can see that our navigation graph has an ID. And here on the right side, we can see the design panel where we can add our destination. To add our destination, we should press this plus button. Once we have created our navigation graph, we shouldn't forget to add our entry point for the application. To adding the entry point of our application, we will select the destination that we have already added, and then we press this button. The destination could be activity or fragment. Let's take a look in detail how the navigation graph of our application will looks like. Here in the right side, we can see our destination connected by some action. The action is the object that will allow us to move from the current destination to the new destination. On the left side, we can see the code of our navigation graph. Each tag of fragment corresponding to a destination that we have put in our navigation graph, and inside each of our fragment we can see that we have the actions. The action to be used should have an ID, as we can see here. Okay, so now we are almost ready to make the magics happen. But before to make the magic happen, so we should know where the magic will happen and to set this place. The magic will happen inside a navigation host fragment. In my application, I have put the navigation host fragment inside my main activity, inside a fragment container view, as we can see here from the code. Once we have added a fragment, navigation host fragment, we should also connect to it our navigation graph. So once our activity will be rendered, will be displayed our entry point of our application, because as we set it in our navigation graph. Now we are ready to make the magic happens. But to make the magic happens, we need our wand. Our wand is called navigation nav controller. Nav controller is it is an object that will allow us to navigate between one destination to other one. To retrieve the navigation controller, we will use an extension function called find navigation controller. This extension function could be used from Fragment, view, or from activity. But if we will use this function inside activity, we should pass the ID of navigation host fragment. Here we can see an example of how find nav controller is called inside the activity. Now that we have our wand, we can do our magic. So we will call navigate function. Navigate function will take as argument an action ID. And here we can see our first problem of this kind of navigation, because in this way our navigation is not tape safe, because inside the navigation fragment I can pass any kind of action ID. So that if I am in the wrong destination and I will pass the action ID of other destination, our application will not run correctly. At runtime, we will have an error. To solve this problem, we will use SafeArgs Gradle plugin. SafeArgs Gradle plugin is a plugin that will generate for us some classes to help us to navigate safely. So these classes will give to us a nav direction object that will wrap to us the action ID, and we can also use SafeArgs to pass arguments between our destination. So let's move to funny part. So let's go to Android Studio. Oops, I cannot see my mouse. Strange. Okay. Let's take a brief look on our navigation graph. Here we have our home fragment, search fragment, PDP fragment. As PDP fragment is a product detail page fragment, it is so the page that will render the detail of the article selected by the user. As we can see, our destination are connected by some actions, and home fragment is our entry point for the application. To start to use the SafeArgs plugin, first of all, we need to add this class path to our build Gradle at project level. After that, we should apply the plugin on the build Gradle at application level. That one. Now we are ready to use SafeArgs plugin. So to let the plugin generate the class, I will rebuild the project. I would like also to make a brief introduction to the structure of the project. I am using a single module project. So I have only an application module. Here we can see my packages. Inside the base, I have put some utilities that I have used to implement my small e-commerce app. And here we can see the home package that will contain all classes needed to render home fragment. I am using an MVVM pattern to do that. Here we can see the package for product detail page, and here we can see the package for the search page. Okay, let's take a brief look on how looks like our home page. So now we would like to move from this page to the search page. Well, to do that, I will add a click listener on the search icon. You can see here the ID, it is search icon. So, and inside this click listener, I will add our magic. Here we can see that I'm using the AD action, but we wouldn't use it anymore. Okay, now the Gradle plugin has generated for us the classes. The classes, it is the name of our current destination. So in that case, is home fragment, followed by the word direction. So I will create my action variable, and then I will retrieve my direction. So as we can see, home fragment direction, the name of current destination, followed by the word directions. And I will use this function that is a companion object function to retrieve the direction. And I will put my action inside the navigate, replacing the ID. Okay, and now the first part of our magic, it is done. Let's take a brief look of the generated class. The generated class, it is only a class that will give to us a companion object function that will give to us a nav direction object that will wrap, as I said, the ID of our action. So let's try it. Okay, this is our home, and now I'm clicking the search icon, and here we are. It is working. Now the user will do his research. This is the article search result. But now if I'm pressing one of these articles, I couldn't go anywhere. So now I should implement the action that will navigate from the search page to the product detail page. To do that, we should also pass to product detail page an argument that will tell to product detail page fragment which is the selection of our client. To do that, we can go back to our navigation graph, select product detail page fragment, and here on the arguments, I will add the arguments that I need. So in this case, it is an article ID, and the type of this article ID is a string. As we can see in this dialog, we can also select if we would like to pass an array, or if these arguments is nullable, and if it has a default value. But in our case, we will not have a default value, and we wouldn't that our argument could be nullable. So I press add, and now I'm rebuilding my project to let the Gradle plugin regenerate the class, and I will move to the search fragment. Okay, now that I am in the search fragment, on the event of open product detail page, I will implement my new navigation. So as before, I will create the action with the name of current destination, so search fragment followed by the word direction, and now I'm retrieving the nav direction, and now we can see that Android Studio is asking to us to put the arguments that in this case is an article ID. So we'll pass to it the article ID. Now we should retrieve our wound. Once we have retrieved our wound, we can navigate to destination. Okay, now we haven't finished it yet, because now we are passing the argument to the destination, but now we should move to product detail page fragment, that will be our new destination, and retrieve this argument. To retrieve this argument, I will do it inside the function on view created. And once I have retrieved, I will ask to the view model to render the selected product from the user. To retrieve the arguments, the plugin gives to us an extension function called NavArgs. Let's see it now. args. This is our function. And here it is asking to us which kind of type of arguments we would like to retrieve. The plugin is wrapping to us the argument inside another class that will have the name of the current destination followed by the word args. So it is PDP fragment args. Once I have retrieved this object, I will retrieve the implementation of PDP fragment args, and then I will ask to it to give me the article ID. Once I have the article ID, I will ask the view model to render my article ID. So okay, before to run the application, I would like to show you how the new directions looks like. Here I'm not only wrapping sorry, not me, the plugin. It's not only wrapping the ID action, but is also wrapping the arguments inside a bundle. And here, when I am calling this object, I can see that to retrieve the argument, I'm retrieving it from the bundle. Now let's rebuild our application. And let's see the result of our implementation. So let's go here. Now I will press any article. Let's do this one. And here we are. I have correctly rendered my article selected by the user. And for SafeArgs, that's it. Now, let's assume that we would like to implement in our application the deep linking ability. So we would be able to dive our customer from any external point of our application to a specific part of it. To do that in the navigation component, we can use two approaches. First approach is to use an explicit deep linking, so that we will do it with the help of our wand. Remember our wand, the Nav Controller, that will create for us a pending intent, and once we will use this intent, the application will be opened and will not go through our entry point, but will go directly to the specific destination of our application. The second way to do that in the navigation component is to use an implicit deep linking. An implicit deep linking consists that I will map my destination with an URI, and then I will create an intent that I will use, and then Android will resolve to us this intent and will open our application in the specific destination without passing through the entry point of our application. So to see these two scenarios, let's assume that firstly we would like to implement a feature in our application that will allow the user to review a specific article in a second moment. So let's assume that our customer is seeing this kind of article, and he noticed that he don't have much time to see it in detail. So he will press this heart icon, and then the application will send a memo to the customer, and the customer can consult this article in a second moment. Okay, to do that, here I have the function, the event send memo. Once this event is triggered, I am inside the PDP fragment. I should retrieve the current article ID. So I will do it as I have did before with SafeArgs extension function. And then I will create my pending intent. To create my pending intent, I will do it with the help of our wand. So I will ask to it create deep linking, and then I should set the destination. The destination is PDP fragment, and I set also the arguments. Asking to me to wrap the argument inside a bundle. So let's use the extension bundle off and wrap our argument in a bundle. And then let's create our pending intent. To create the notification, I have created a helper class to display the notification. So I will use it. Post notification, give to him the article ID, the context, article name, and my pending intent. So let's see the results of our implementation. So let's go here, do our search, select a different article, press the button, and assume that now I should do some other stuff. I am doing my other stuff, and now I would like to receive my article. So I will press here the notification. Oops, there is something went wrong. Let me check what I have did. Article. Let's see what it went wrong. And let's fix it together. I don't know what is wrong. Maybe here is I wrote it. Cancel. Yes, here's the wrong. I did a typo. Sorry for that. Let's visit it again and let's see the results. Sorry for my typo. So let's go here, select the article. Yes, add it to the favorites. And now close the application. Open it. Yes, and here we are. Okay, now it's working. I did a typo, so when I was opening the notification, I couldn't open it because I did a typo. So be sure to put the same key for the arguments inside the bundle that you have put it here in your navigation graph. Now I would like to see to show you the last thing, that is the implicit deep linking. The implicit deep linking is when I am adding a custom URI. So I will select the destination and then I will add the deep links from here. And now I will write my custom URI. I am using a custom host because I wouldn't let Android resolve my URI thinking that is a website. So I have used my app. Now let's use my ecommerce.com. And now PDP. And now I should put a placeholder to the specific article that I would like. Okay, when you are using an implicit deep linking, don't forget to add in your manifest this line to let Android know that for resolving this kind of URI, he would look into the navigation graph inside this activity. Okay, in the real life, we would like to send the emails, promotional emails to the customers, and then with the link so that the user could be able to press this link and then render correctly the specific page. For simplicity, I will use ADB shell to create my intent. So let's assume that the user have the application closed. And now I will launch my intent. I did another typo. com dot sorry for that. I did probably another typo. Let me fix it in a moment. Okay. Now we can see that the application it is opened inside the article with the ID 1. Let's close this article and let's try another article with the ID 2, for instance. Now we can see that the application, it has been opened with on different article. This is the article with the ID 2, and now the last is with the ID 3. Okay, and now we have finished with the deep linking. I have prepared a repo. You can find the link of the repo on my slides. I have prepared the repo in the way that each commit will correspond to a chapter to my presentation, so you can follow my presentation, and then now we can see the corresponding commit in the repository.